Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Senior Transition Helpers. We really try to be a great resource for our viewers and listeners, and very much on the topic of um, helping seniors make this transition. And we're senior transition helpers, so we like to help with the real estate part of it with various options. But candidly, the guest we have today deals with really the more critical part. And when I was going through this with my parents, man, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know there was something like uh, a person that had the knowledge, had the experience, and could sort of point me in the right direction. I went with very much Jodi without any guidance whatsoever. So God bless you for doing what you do. And our special guest today is Jodi Glacer. You're with Senior Care Authority, is that correct?
Yes, Senior Care Authority.
Okay. So, tell us a little bit, Jodi, about what you do, and then we'll kind of go a little bit deeper into maybe giving some pointers and some tips.
Okay. So Senior Care Authority is a national network of assisted living advisors and elder care consultants. And we help people find the best long-term care options. And long-term care options are what happens when somebody can no longer live at home alone. So that includes, when you think of long-term care options, you're thinking of having people that come into the home to be with somebody to help them, or it's having somebody leave the home and move into an independent living community, an assisted living community, or a memory care community. And what I do is I listen to the situation that somebody comes and brings to me, and based on everything that I hear, I can suggest all sorts of elder care options for them. But what I focus on mainly is helping people find independent living, assisted living, or memory care.
Super. And it's just so, I had this flashback. I'm talking to you and looking at you, and we're talking about this topic, and I had this flashback
Mhm.
of really trying to find the proper community for my mom. My mom fell down in her house, and she refused to call an ambulance. She had the help by fallen, but she didn't want to
Use it.
embarrass herself for the neighbors, was her word. She
Right,
said in Jewish, we say it's a shanda for the neighbors, is
yeah,
what she said.
right.
But she laid on the floor for 2 days. And so clearly she couldn't go home again. And looking for a community that fit her. And what I mean by fit her is fit her medical and basic needs. But I needed a place. She had no filter, so like whatever came into her brain came out of her mouth. She didn't have dementia, Alzheimer's. She was 100% coherent. She just wasn't very nice,
Mhm.
and it came whatever came out came out. And so I was trying to find a community where she could also I guess, maneuver socially if that was even possible.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm sure that's some of the challenges. What goes into you helping guide a senior or their family to the right
Sure.
place?
Yeah, so I do a long intake, so I can have a conversation with the family and take a half hour and learn all about the person that's going to be making the move, what kind of physical issues they have, mentally, obviously, memory if they need memory care, their personality type, what amenities they need to have, where family members live. So we find out a place that's close or on the track, like if somebody lives or works in a certain area, they're going to be driving by a lot. They can stop and see their mom, things like that. Financially, we talk about that too. The community is just like everything else all over the country, and South Florida is included in that, where rents and homes have gone up. So have assisted living communities. So we talk about finances. And then based on everything that I hear, I'll suggest communities. I'll actually set up the appointments at the communities, which I have the phone number of the salespeople, the cell phones of salespeople. And I've been doing this a long time, over 8 years now. So they know when I'm calling them, that I'm calling them because I have somebody who's possibly a match for their community, that matches what the community is looking for. So they respond to me quickly. And
It,
then I'll set up the appointments and I go with you on the tours to make sure that the families understand everything that's being told to them and that questions that they have get answered fully. I also talk to them about, what's going on in the community as far as price wise is considered too. So because I am working with probably 4 or 5 families a month, the communities might give me a little bit of a leeway with my families because they want me to bring more people to them. So it's kind of like having somebody who is feet on the street, who has an in for you. It's like a daughter who specializes in assisted living. And I think of every family that I work with as though, what if my mom or my mom's best friend came to me with these set of circumstances? What communities would I suggest for them? And I hear a lot about what's going on in the communities because once I help people make that move, I'll go ahead and contact them afterwards a few times to make sure everything's going well. And I hear feedback. And then people have come to me and they're in different communities and they need to leave because they don't like what's going on. And I listen to all those. I don't want to go ahead and suggest communities that people aren't happy in. That's really important to me.
it's so critical. I mean, a resource like this, especially if you're out of town, right? So if you have a parent living in South Florida and you're listening to this, and you're in New Jersey or New York or Maryland or Michigan or
Right.
wherever,
Yeah.
my God, I mean, I lived in Baltimore and I was very familiar with Baltimore, but I didn't know which community was, I didn't know what was behind the curtain, Jody. Do you know what I mean? When you walk in, everything always looks beautiful. There's a chandelier, there's a
Right.
pretty table with flowers, but you don't really know what's going on inside
Right.
till they're there. And the last thing you want to do is move someone several times. It's hard enough to move them the first
So
time.
hard. That I really try and avoid that because it's so hard on somebody. I mean, it's hard on younger people. Everybody has a hard time moving. It's one of the top 5 or, most difficult things to do. And so I always try and make it the best move first. One move because it's so hard to make people to help people to find the next place. What's the next place going to be like and what do you have to go through with that? So I think it's really important to have somebody who has insight. The state, Florida, goes into each of these communities, ACA, and they walk around and they make sure that communities meet a certain level of, they have rules and regulations, and if they're not meeting the rules and regulations, they write a citation up. And I go and check these citations. That happens every 2 years. And in between the 2 years, if people complain, that also goes on the same record. So I'm always checking that. But it's even more than that. It's like, how are the people that work there going to treat me and my family members? And that's not something that you can just tell from just a walkthrough. It's something that you hear about situations. And you talked about being in New Jersey. I work with families a lot. I can tell you about a family that I worked with, and it was near the tail end of COVID. People still were not traveling. I guess it wasn't the tail end. It was almost 2 years in. People were still not traveling and their mother needed to make a move. And so what happened was I actually picked up their mom. We actually toured communities beforehand, virtually, the kids and I, the son and daughter-in-law. And then after they saw the communities, they said that this is the one that I like. I want you to take mom back to. So I took mom back there and then they ended up moving. I know a lot of people in the senior care arena, so if they need move managers, if they need other types of services, I can go ahead and basically pull a team together to make sure that a move happens smoothly.
It's so critical, folks, because I can tell you from personal experience, it's like having a full-time job.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Jody, your services are covered by the community. Is that accurate?
So the community actually pays me a fee. The communities in mostly around the country don't have outside marketing people on staff. Instead, they choose to contract with assisted living advisors and elder care consultants such as myself and Senior Care Authority. So there's already an agreement there. So once somebody makes a move into a community, then the community pays them a fee. But people like me, the good ones, we don't think, well, how much is the fee gonna be? I'm working with 4 or 5 families a month. What I care about is making sure that my family members are happy, so I have a great reputation. Because that's how families wanna work with people that have great reputations, and so that's my number one, is making sure that the family's happy and it's a good move.
And folks, this is no different than you working with a realtor. I mean, it's very different because it's specialized knowledge, but the comparison would be you wanting to rent somewhere and going with a realtor to a place, and the seller
Right,
usually pays the first month's rent.
right.
So, you know, if that sounded a little awkward, I apologize, but
No, I feel
man,
like I'm
I'll tell you,
working with the agent.
I would have paid you double.
Yeah. It
You
it
know,
I feel like I'm a realtor for the aged, absolutely.
yeah,
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 and some people like me, I do ask for a deposit when people start working with me, and then I reimburse it 100% once people move in. Just so that, we know that it's a business transaction, that we're working together. I'm a professional, I have an agreement. I'm accountable, I'm a certified senior advisor, I'm a certified dementia practitioner, I'm insured. So this is my
yeah,
full-time business.
exactly. And you are the expert. And you know, I only bring this up because I know all sorts of things are flying at you financially when you are going through this situation, or you're the child going through this situation for and with a parent, and you're going, oh my God, I've got this expense, I got that expense, I got to clean the house, I got to move the house. You know, I mean, part of what we do at Senior Transition Helpers is help you navigate where to get some of those funds, usually from the home,
That's
and
right.
make that as painless as possible, by either listing it for sale, or sometimes we have an opportunity, if it needs to happen quickly, to make other options available. But I just wanted folks to know, Jodi, that you're not an added expense. You are really quite the opposite. You're worth literally every penny that someone you know can use to make this resource happen. I'll tell you an interesting, it's probably going to catch you off guard, but I'll tell you an interesting situation I had with my mom. So we put her in a community. It was a manor care community in Maryland, and she was there for quite a long time. And then she got to a point, Jodi, where she wasn't really appropriate for there anymore, but the nursing home felt that she was functioning above their level.
Yeah,
So I was like, well, yikes. You know, you can't handle her, but she's too good for here, and there's nothing in the middle.
yeah,
What do you, I mean, you ever run into that? What do you do? I'll tell
yeah,
you what I did later, but what
yeah.
do you do?
In Florida, I can't speak for all states, but many states, they have something called residential care homes. They're houses, usually 6 people live there. They have 2 caregivers during the day and 1 at night. And they're regulated exactly the way the large assisted living facilities are. So the communities are equal as far as all of the rules and regulations that they have to adhere to. And those are great. A lot of times they're run by nurses, and the people, the staff are, they're very competent, and it's a nice situation. It's like living at home, but you have full-time care around the clock. And they have activities that they do there. And a lot of times, well, they bring in physical therapy just like they would anywhere else. The doctors come in, just like any of the other communities.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what I did. I had a friend who had a friend who was very active on the board of the nursing home. So I used my nuclear option.
Mhm,
And for almost a year and a half, 2 years of trying to get her, keep getting her assessed and trying to get her in,
mhm.
um, this person made a phone call and they brought her in the same day. So sometimes the reason I say this is because sometimes it's who you know, not what you know. And working with Jodi, Jodi has the knowledge of each of these communities inside. She knows the people.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you how critical that is to this all turning into a good experience. So, one question, Jodi, tell me how this all came about. Why'd you get into this profession?
Yeah, so I was in corporate America for many years, and I just felt like I needed to do something a little bit more fulfilling. I just looked at basically my assets and the things that I like to do at work and the things I didn't like to do at work. And I did a lot of research. I probably took about 3 years to decide. I'm a really good listener. I'm a good girlfriend to my girlfriends, and I really am very fortunate. I get to work mostly with the oldest daughter in the family. Um, and and she's me, so we hit it off right away. And because I'm the oldest in my family, and I help people walk through a difficult situation. And I took the time to make it easy for me because I've done a lot of studying. Like I said, I have certifications. I'm constantly uh, going to educational uh, discussions. I'm learning. I know a lot of people in the arena, so I've learned that way too. And I really enjoy helping people and figuring out, give me a problem and we're going to figure out a really good solution that everybody's going to be okay with.
Yeah, you
So,
you you are a good listener from all the interactions I've had with you, and it's what a critical skill for what you do. I mean, you really have to pay very close attention to what the actual children are saying, what the parents are saying, and sort of make all that come together because sometimes I'm sure they're at opposite ends.
mhm. Yeah.
Um,
I was
so
a consultant when I worked in corporate America. And so I feel like a lot of the skills, even though it's not business to business, I feel like those skill sets are a lot of the same skills that I need to be able to be helpful in this position.
totally transferable, absolutely. So tell us how our listeners and viewers would get hold of you.
Yeah, so I'm Jodi Glacer with Senior Care Authority. My phone number is 561-303-2242. And you can reach me also at my email address, jodi@seniorcareauthority.com. You can look up my name and my company online, and you'll find my website. I have a lot of 5-star reviews on Google. There's a lot of information on me. Oh, I've been doing this for several years, and I never miss an opportunity to be able.
I'm not sure if I froze or you froze, Jodi. Start again. Go
It's
ahead. Can you give out those numbers one more time and the website?
it's Jodi Glacer with Senior Care Authority. My phone number is 561-303-2242. And my email is jodi@seniorcareauthority.com.
All right. Well, super. I thank you so much for being with us, Jodi. And for those of you listening and watching, feel free to call us 443-324-8424. If you like this episode or any of the past episodes, feel free to share them and hit the subscribe button below. And we'll be back next week with another show. And if you're listening and you'd like to be a guest on our show, feel free to let us know that as well. Jodi, thanks again. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much.